Nigeria's Nobel laureate, Wole Soyinka, revealing that his US visa was revoked, this is something he said he had long predicted since the Trump administration. And the story goes beyond the single man's visa. It raises important questions about how politics identify and global, how politics identity and global perception collide in our modern world. So Soyinka at 91 years has lived through colonialism, dictatorship, and of course democracy. He's still living until now. So yet we've seen that even now he's still facing the ripple effects of political decisions thousands of miles away. So today our discussion is around power. Our discussion is going to be around policy and of course around personal dignity. And we'll be doing justice to this topic. Even if not completely, we might complete it talking about this another time. But let's see what this means for not just Soyinka, but what it means for, Nigeria-US relations, what it means for you and I, and what it means for the millions of Africans navigating global systems and, of course, power, and whether, it's through travel, education, migration, or diplomacy, how all of these things are affecting us now, especially with this current situation, the designation by the US president to Nigeria, calling us a country of particular concern. So we want to, explore some of these things, especially the revocation of Wole Soyinka's visa and what it means to our dignity, what power means, what policy, how policy plays here. Talking about dignity in the face of, power, Soyinka's response is a masterclass in, dignity, if we look at it very well. But then, before we go deeper, let's look at this video from Wole Soyinka,
whose visa also was revoked. And why was his visa revoked? Because he said that Donald Trump was ruling like an emperor. It served him right. I mean, how would we be calling the whole president of the United States an emperor? That was not very nice. So I looked to see whether I had committed any similar crime. And I remembered that I referred to him as the white version of Idi Amin. Now, dictators are very difficult to please. I would have thought that he was pleased. I mean, Idi Amin was a man of international stature, a statesman, a first-class Democrat, He was also, he called himself the King of Scotland. He called himself a liberator. He said, in fact, he was going to liberate Scotland from the grip of the British. In other words, we should look at Idi Amin as along the line of historic liberators. He was liberating everybody everywhere. Some of them, he even liberated their lives from them, and sent them to places of no return. So when I called Donald Trump Idi Amin, I thought I was paying him a compliment. So why now, if they had contacted me, I would have said, look, I'll look for a new title for you. Maybe give you a more contemporary emperor, like Emperor Bokassa. But I thought that Idi Amin was sufficiently universal. And the man had said, Donald Trump, he was going to rule like a dictator. He's been behaving like a dictator. He should be proud to be acknowledged, a dictator, first class. Somebody whom, as I said, even launched the era of Heraclitus in the United States by making permanent resident cards non-permanent, showing that no condition is permanent. So I thought I would let all of you know the possible catalog of my crimes. Only one conviction, which I signed guilty at the airport for carrying a few papers. Otherwise, I don't know what else I could have done. But maybe I've also written plays about Idi Amin. Maybe it's about time also write a play about Donald Trump. When he hears that I'm paying him the same literary compliment as I paid Idi Amin, maybe we'll reconsider and return my visa. Otherwise, I want to assure the consulate and the Americans here that I am very content with the revocation of my visa. And that, as I said, they are always welcome as individuals, as citizens, to interact on any number of levels that they wish, short, of course, of my going over there to the United States. I think that's all I want to say really about this whole issue. I said I would reserve a section of the letter to the last, rather than read it continuously. And you will understand why when I read it. That's the other thing I like about what's happened here. Aha. After that section which I read, it goes on to say, we request you bring your visa to the U.S. Consulate General, Lagos, for physical cancellation. To schedule an appointment, please email, etc., advance of the appointment. I like people who have a sense of humor. And this is one of the most humorous sentences or requests I've had in all my life, that I should bring my passport to the consulate to have it stamped on a page, cancelled. Will any of you like to volunteer in my place and take the passport for me? Because I'm a little bit busy and rushed. So anybody who wants to undertake this for me, you're welcome to do so. But as I said, one must develop a sense of humor, and I like them for that. Whoever devised this is after my own heart, that sentence, that request. Bring your visa to us so we can stamp it.
I think what happened here, if we look at it, is very symbolic as well as also personal, because for a man who has spent decades speaking truth to power, a visa cancellation is small, but a very small practical harm, if we want to even put it into perspective. He's 91 years old. I mean, he has seen it all. He has seen post-colonial era, pre-colonial era, colonial era, and of course post-colonial era. So he can come out and put things into perspective, and it might be correct to an extent. But then I feel like this largely signifies the state, a powerful, foreign government flexing discretionary administrative prowess, in a way that I can say intersects with our reputation as a country, intersects with reputations of citizens of this country. Because if you talk about mobility exclusion, it's a very symbolic exclusion too. You are talking about identity exclusion too. If you cannot, I remember, I've forgotten the name of one of Wole Soyinka's poem, which I read in school countless times. I really loved that. I've forgotten. It was about somebody, a man who is traveling, a Nigerian who is traveling, and then he was, or let's just say an African, to put it in the broader picture, who is traveling, and he was embarrassed, he was harassed, he was, assaulted in the airport just because he's in Nigeria. Or even talking about one of his poem again, telephone conversation, that's the name of the title of the poem, where he was calling as an African man, talking to a white woman, and then she kept on telling him, so many racial and discriminatory statements and so many racial statements she make. So that's just an instance on the side, but how we present ourselves, how we present Africa, it tells on our dignity, because dignity is not only an emotional posture. Dignity is more like, it's a political statement. Was it the other day we were talking about how they are trying to elect ambassadors, and we're talking about what ambassadors means on the global stage, how ambassadors should represent their countries on the global, stage. So I think this is a political statement here. When a public intellectual like Wole Soyinka refuses to be shamed or, to to get some of these curry favors, then there is a problem here. And the problem ties to history. The problem ties to, the problem ties backward. This is not the first time he has been complaining of, we've seen Africans being denied of visas, or their visas being revoked, or they have not gotten access to, travel to foreign countries to go and do whatnot, whether it's for study, whether it's for, business or vacation, and a whole lot of that. So I think this should be framed properly. It ties on our dignity as a country, and where are we at as Nigerians when it comes to our dignity?
From his statement, I could see the challenges that of victimhood and like the dependency of the normal African man. What has eaten into the minds of Africans. And one of the things I saw, and I really like about this particular move that he made, was that he did not even look at the country. So many. Let's bring the Japa syndrome into this particular discussion. So many Africans have left living in the middle class in Nigeria to move out to live in the lower class outside the country. And the reason why they would want to do that is because they believe that nothing is in Nigeria anymore. And they would take rubbish, when I mean rubbish, or rubbish talk, even from maybe their bosses, allegedly their bosses outside the country and all of that, but still would stay because they believe that the system over there is way better than the Nigerian system. Now, for Wole Soyinka, he did not look at the country, the global recognition, but he could uphold his, he said, instead of being pushed out, I can walk out with my dignity. And so many Nigerians do not even believe that. In fact, so many Nigerians drop their dignity, or so many Africans drop their dignity in their pockets whenever they are outside. They drop it. They do not even believe, if they drop their patriotism in the pocket, and whenever they are outside in all of these revolved countries. See, one of the meetings that Trump had, I think, during the beginning of the year with some African leaders, and when an African leader spoke a good English, he said, wow. He said, where did you school? That was the question. When you see questions like this, it just shows you that a lot of things are eating into the minds of Africans, and people are seeing it. People believe it. People know it. But for Wole Soyinka, it was different from him. He believes that no matter how revolved or how advanced your country is, being, dignity in my country still remains the same. So if you would look at my country, we see so many people. I was trying to look up for so many African leaders in the past that actually really did or make stance like that when it comes to any of the revolved countries coming against their beliefs and policy, or the beliefs or policy of their own country, and they will stand for it. But there are so many Africans that don't do this, and we need to come into that space. We're talking about it yesterday with Chinatu. We're saying that in Nigeria, we've decided to adapt to a lot of things. We adapt to it, whether in or out of this country. We come to the adaptation point where other countries can now come and say a lot of things. See the aviation policy, they know Naira data. I said no Naira data. The no Naira visa collection for going outside, flying international air flights. The no Naira placement that they said that you have to pay in that in dollars. That's what we're saying. We see so many schools even in Nigeria that want to get paid their school fees in dollars. These are the kind of things we are saying. And we know the funny thing, we were saying it yesterday, Nigerians will come to a point where they will just adapt to it. And they will allow the river to just flow. We just follow the crowd. As far as at least we will still walk and we still go back. And we do not speak up. We do not stand against these particular things when we see them. I like the fact that he is coming out to say, do not, please. We are breaking that mentality of them thinking that Africans just have to say yes, because of course it's Trump that gave me the visa. So of course it's a country that's, so many people are looking for that visa. There are so many Nigerians running to get the green, is it the green card of the US? They are looking for it. There are so many people looking for it. And one man tears his own because, of course, they do not stand for what he believes and what his countries believe. We need to come to that point as Africans.
I think that's, when we talk about even identity and policy, like you are talking about, some of these visa policies is even always very political, because in recent years we have seen how US has adjusted rules for Nigerian applicants. They have put shorter validity. They have put stricter entry terms, even for those going there for education, and even the current political, climate visa decision that have been, publicly tied to some kind of security narratives too, because this statement the US president made, it kind of ties to security concerns and is going to affect travel too, which is one of what we are seeing. And then the background of, policy shift and, selective use of discretionary cancellation, it means a lot. It tells a lot, like I said before, on our identity. It tells a lot on, it can become a factor for mobility in the long run. People may not be allowed to even leave the shores of this country at all to the US. That's where we are going at. And then, to even contextualize mobility, I mean, it's like a two-way thing. It's like a two-layered reality. One layer is that, one layer is sort of technical. Visas, forms, all those additional information, flags, they are going to be flagged. Then on another aspect, when you check the second layer, it's more like it is political, because when a government tightens mobility, we know the first one is majorly for security concerns, travel, security checks and all of those things. But then the second layer, if we look at it, is kind of political, because if a government tightens mobility for citizens of a particular country, or of some countries, or of some particular countries, or use revocation as signaling, I feel like the entire population rather will feel like, okay, we understand where you are, what you're trying to tell us. I know Nigerians are divided now with this situation currently. Some people are here, it's good. Some people are here. Some of us are in the middle. It's good. But then we are looking at the other side of this. Let this not go political. Let this not have some kind of agenda that we are not or we are foreseeing, or maybe we are seeing what we shouldn't be seeing. But then I feel like this gives a deep concrete comparison in Trump's years of rulership or Trump's regime, if I should put it that way, and other periods of nationalist policy globally, because immigration policy, we have seen it shifted oftentimes. It's not the first time. Even a country's national immigration policy